Hey guys, Sean T. Phillips here with a brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Today just gonna go to some of the regular spots, see if anything, what came out today, see if anything's on sale. Also, if you guys are gonna be going to the Kamikaze convention in Los Angeles, I'm gonna be going there on Saturday. So if you guys see me there, definitely say hello. But and also at the end of this video, I'm gonna have a couple of reviews. I'm gonna have my update as well, then the main DVD Blu-ray update as well, up probably Friday, a little earlier since I'm leaving earlier for Kamikaze on Saturday. So anyway though, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. Yeah, some of the stuff that came out today was The Gift, and that was actually really good. I would definitely recommend you guys check this one out. It's a little high for the price, though, $22, but really like that a lot. And they have pixels in here, and they have their, exclusive lenticular cover for this one here. And also The Fifth Element. There's also the one in that special type of case that's out as well. Southpaw, which I thought was okay. Didn't absolutely love that one, but I think those are some of the main ones today. Into Walmart we go. And as you see, they still have these Jurassic World tins, so they really weren't that super limited. Like I said though, The Gift is here, and this one was okay. Max, I saw this in theaters. This is worth checking out. It was a fun, animal movie. It was kind of sad too though, but that one was okay as well. Those are like the main things. We'll see how else is in the section though, if anything different is in here today. Yeah, it looks like a lot of the same stuff from like the last couple of weeks. We Are Still Here, The Final Girl, Sharknado. It doesn't seem like it's really updated anything really new in here because all this stuff was last week. I'm pretty sure this was last week. So it seems like it's all not too many new things besides the ones I showed a second ago. And those who are wondering though, you can buy Back to the Future, the cartoon single, but the episodes of just the show, if you don't want to get the collection of all the movies again. But I don't really remember even watching this. For some reason, I remember the toys at Burger King, but I never remember, or maybe it was at Burger King or McDonald's, but I never actually remember watching any episodes of this. I do know that it has like Christopher Lloyd doing intros to them as far as I remember though. Into the soup plantation we go. So I end up getting the salad thing, that I always get here with the fat-free honey mustard dressing. Sally? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I know I get the same stuff a lot. I'm here all the time pretty much. There's certain things I kind of get all the time. And those wondering too, I will have a new weight loss video in next week or so because a lot of people ask me about that. If there's anything you guys want me to talk about or any questions you want me to answer and things like that in the video, let me know so I make sure to bring those up for the weight loss video. Into Fries we go. Just kind of looking around here and seeing if anything came out. It's funny, they sometimes have some really good prices. Like this movie, I feel like hardly anyone saw this. This is, I think, one of Shia LaBeouf's best movies that no one saw, Charlie Countryman. They're only $3. Like, every so often you find stuff in here, a lot of $3. Like, this was a terrible one, but it's one of those ones like, I have it just to have it, like to have it next to the other ones, but this was, I always wish that they were going to do a remake of this, they would do a real true one, underground, as opposed to this, which was just more like taking the name, and that was pretty much it. They sometimes have really weird prices like paper towns in here for $33.99. I never understand how they have some of these prices. The way they pick them. Because some things are really terrible prices like that. Into Best Buy we go. Yeah, at Best Buy they have this exclusive steelbook of Pixels. This is one of the exclusive ones for this. And I think this was the same cover, the 3D. There might be a different cover than the one we saw, I think, at Target. But I said though, The Gift, it's $19.99 here, so it's a little bit cheaper. And like I said, I really like this one. This is actually a pretty cool movie. It's not a movie that would have a huge replay value, when you kind of find out about the twists and some of the stuff that happens in it, but still was pretty good. Like I said, Max, but not too many other things today, not many other big releases today. And this one I think might have been today. I talked about this in the last update. I actually thought this was a pretty cool one. It was a lot, better than I thought it was going to be, and I definitely would recommend this. And this one, is only at Best Buy, this edition. And I think this was last week, and I actually like the Spit on Your Grave 3. I think that one's definitely worth watching. So that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Nothing big came out. Walmart, I always go to the one that's kind of further out to see if they got any different things in today. And it was kind of all the same stuff. Hopefully in a week or two, more stuff start coming out because they kind of keep the sections the same in some of those places for a while. Like I said too, there's going to be some reviews at the end of this video. And also, like I said, if you guys are going to the Kamikaze convention, if you're in the LA area, definitely check that out. It's a really cool convention. I'll be there, and I believe Brennan, Wetway will be there as well on this Saturday. Anyway though guys, now stay tuned for some reviews, and thanks again for watching. And the first one I got from Olive Films is King of the Hill, the complete 13th season. This is the final season of King of the Hill. So glad that Olive Films, went and put all the last seasons of the show out, because Fox stopped releasing them at season 6, so they've been releasing since season 7 of the show. And this is one of my top favorite, animated shows. Mike Judd, who created Beavis and Butthead, created this show as well. And to me, this has always been one of my favorite ones, next to Simpsons. But I've actually, when like the later seasons of the show, always actually had liked King of the Hill better than the Simpsons. I haven't seen a lot of the recent seasons of Simpsons, but at the same time when these were on, I was always preferring King of the Hill, because to me, like I've always said in the past too, I liked it. It's a really, really real life show. It's one of those kind of things too. It would almost be amazing to see like them like make like one episode of finding people that look like them, and because it's the kind of thing you could really do this in real life. It's not like a show where it's a lot of outlandish or like kind of crazy or different kind of stuff. It's like all things that really is based in reality. It's basically about, Hank Hill, who works, selling propane, and his son Bobby and his wife, and kind of all the stuff that happens to them in their town. One of my favorite episodes on this one is the one when Bill ends up getting diabetes, and then he ends up figuring out how to reverse it. And that was one of those episodes I always remember, because as you guys know, I was always overweight, and really overweight, and I was always kind of worried that if I got diabetes, like what was I going to do. And I know that's one of the reasons why I always remember that episode, because I was always like, oh, well, he reversed it, so then I guess I could hopefully do that if that ever happened to me. So to me, that was one that I always remembered more than a lot of other people would, but I always really remember that episode. The other one on here too was when they end up building Hank Hill and his friends all go and help this guy who wants to sell one of the houses, his mother's house, and he fixes it all up. And then he goes and demolishes it immediately, because they only wanted it to have curb appeal so they could sell the plot of land. And then they build this gigantic mansion across the street, and it's all kinds of issues go on with this mansion. But I would definitely recommend picking this up. One of my favorite shows, and like I said, so glad now that first it's on Blu-ray the last season, and that Olive Films has gone and released all of them. The next one from Olive Films, this is one that I always grew up watched all the time. I always think of this and Blank Man are two of like kind of the spoof superhero movies that came out. I think Blank Man came out like 2 years or 3 years later, something like maybe 2 years later. But I think this was a better movie as a movie standpoint. And this is, Robert Townsend's film, The Meteor Man. Yeah, I actually always called it Meteor Man, but I never realized it was The Meteor Man. And it's pretty much a spoof kind of parody of, Superman. And it's Robert Townsend character gets hit with a meteorite. And I love the sequence of him getting hit with a meteorite. It was really well done. He gets hit with it, then immediately starts to get these powers from the meteor, and he's able to fly. And it's kind of him trying to discover out what is going on, and him kind of going and trying to fix up his neighborhood with the powers, and kind of fix it up because there's like gangs of like bad kids and stuff. They all have like these dyed blonde hair and stuff. I don't know. I always thought this was a really, really cool, fun movie. Sinbad's in this movie, as well as a bunch of different cameo appearances in this one. But this is a really, really cool movie, and like I said, and with all of Olive Films releases, they do an outstanding job too with the Blu-ray transfers on these. Better than a lot of places. They always are really, really good. Of course, this one looks great. Check out the trailer if you guys haven't seen this one. This is one that I've always really loved. The next one is another one. This was going to come out a month or so back when Part 2 came out on Blu-ray, but then they had a thing with the disc, so they had a date change. And this is Mannequin. And I love both the Mannequin movies. These, especially if you guys haven't seen Part 2, Olive Films has that one out on Blu-ray as well. So check that one out. That's with Christy Swanson. I actually almost like the second one a little bit better, just because it's a little bit more fun. I know it's not as good of a movie as a movie standpoint as Mannequin 1, but I always just had such fun with the Part 2. But, my favorite character in like the history of films is Hollywood. Played by, I always say his name wrong, Mesha Taylor, but he was in Designing Woman, which I don't think I ever saw, but his character Hollywood was amazing. Like, I always absolutely loved that character. One of my top favorite characters, next to the characters the Brazilianaires from Nothing But Trouble. Like, there's certain characters I always absolutely love, and Hollywood is one of them. And it's about this guy who ended up creating this mannequin for the store windows, and he ends up discovering it years later at this really nice, like, upscale kind of department store, and he ends up going in there and ends up through circumstances ends up getting a job there and kind of falls in love with this mannequin, and the mannequin starts to come to life, and people are kind of looking at him weird because he only sees it certain times, and then he kind of is around the mannequin when the mannequin goes back to sleep again, and falls, becomes a mannequin again. Kind of all the stuff that happens at his job. I don't know. It's just a really, really fun movie. Kim Cattrall plays the mannequin in this. Christy Swanson plays the mannequin in the sequel. The next one is a fun, really weird movie called Breeders. Like I said, I really love that Olive Films is putting out some of these kind of lesser known stuff and giving them Blu-ray treatment. There's a lot of stuff they're putting out. One that I keep crossing my fingers for is Clifford, because I believe they have a lot of MGM titles. I believe MGM still owns that one. It's still an MGM title, I think. So that's one of those ones. That and Little Monsters, I always really hope that I see an announcement from them from that, because like those are two of my favorite ones that MGM has. And this one is Breeders. This is basically about these alien creatures that are trying to go around and look for virgins, and basically they attack them and rape them. It's a crazy, weird movie. It's so bad it's good kind of movie. And then like the cops are trying to figure out where these creatures are, and trying to kind of discover what is going on, because they're finding all these kind of weird like foreign matters and stuff like that on the women. And then the women start to go like wake up in these weird trances and things like that. It's a very strange, kind of so bad it's good kind of movie. But another one though, really good transfer in this one as well. Like I said too, I love the artwork on these movies as well. This one I had never heard of in my life. It's a anthology series, and it's from the director who did the Tales from the Crypt, the 70s Tales from the Crypt anthology series film. And he didn't do the other one, though, the one that came after Tales from the Crypt, that was on that double pack, Vault of Horror. He didn't do that one. He did Tales from the Crypt. And this is Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. This has a young Donald Sutherland in this. I think this might have been one of his earlier movies. This is before Don't Look Now, because I always think of that was when I think of his earlier movies. It has Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Roy Castle, and this is, like I said, Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. And it's basically an anthology horror film with this group of people who are on a train, and this guy comes in there who has all these kind of cards, and he goes in there with all these guys who are in there, tells them to pick the cards and things like that, and basically tells them kind of stories and horror things and stuff like that based on what he sees in the cards. And the people that he tells are the ones in the anthology series, in the anthology segment, just like with the Tales from the Crypt one. But like I said, this is a pretty cool one that I had never heard of in my life, and never knew much at all about this one. The next one from Alchemy is 2 Bedroom, 1 Bath. This stars, Eric Roberts in this one. Dee Wallace is in this movie as well. It's basically about a couple that end up moving to this new apartment building, and it's the same kind of stuff when they get there and weird things start to happen to them at this house, and they're kind of seeing weird things. They're basically trying to figure out what is going on and why these things are happening. It's set in an apartment building, because like a lot of times too, more of these movies are set in like houses and stuff like that. This is more of an apartment complex, and it's kind of the boyfriend is trying to figure out what is going on and why the kind of things are happening in there. Like I said, it has Dee Wallace and Eric Roberts in this. Next one, this is one a lot of people had told me about. The movie Lance Henriksen, and I always say the name of this wrong. I'm dyslexic, so I always say certain words wrong. It's Harbinger Down. I believe I'm saying this wrong. Probably saying it wrong. I hate that I say everything wrong all the time. But this is from Vertical Entertainment. This is basically about a whaling boat, and the people who are on there, and the group of this friend invites all, the daughter of the head captain of the boat invites all their friends along, and they all kind of come along there to kind of document and see what's going on there. And they end up bringing up this, because they have like trackers and stuff like that. They bring up this gigantic thing from the water, and they believe it's like some kind of whale, and it's this weird kind of thing. And as things start to happen with the thing that they bring out of the water, and weird things start to happen on there, and it kind of does, it kind of hatches whatever it is. It kind of becomes almost like Alien, because Lance Henriksen is in this. It's got kind of an Aliens kind of vibe to this, about what happens to them on the boat, and there's some crazy, over-the-top kind of like tentacly type effects and stuff like that. It definitely goes out there with the effects and what ends up happening to them with the thing that they found, and kind of gets inside of some of them, and weird things start to happen to them. But that's essentially what it was. It was just a cool movie, all set on a boat, kind of like those fishing boat shows and stuff like that, Deadliest Catch and stuff. Basically, like if all this kind of bad stuff like this happened to them on those fishing boats. The next one from Wild Eye Releasing is Creeps. This one has a cool cover, but it's an interesting movie because basically like I'm pretty certain it's just like a movie that these kids made that probably like 15 years old or something like that. It's something around that, and it's basically a very home video kind of movie because it's from their Raw line, which is more home video-esque kind of shot on video kind of vibe films. And it's pretty fun for what it is. Like I mean, it's like I said, it's very raw, very low budget, no budget kind of movie, and it's basically though about these two friends, and there's this guy wearing this mask who's kind of going around killing them, and they're kind of trying to survive, and one ends up getting, getting killed, and then they're coming after him, trying to figure out what had happened and figure out who these things are, and they become the creeps if you get killed, and they had to take him down to the basement. All these weird things happen. There's pretty decent effects though for what it was. It's just this very strange, interesting movie. And the next one from Wild Eye Releasing is a really cool cover on this one, The Horror Network. It's an anthology film. And it's a pretty well done one though, because it's like some of the segments on this are way lower budget than others. Then some of them are really well filmed. Some of them are like set in like some of them I think were in Europe, and then some of them were like Italy and a couple different spots. But it's created by Brian Dorton and Douglas Connor. And it's pretty well done anthology film. The next one from Wild Eye Releasing as well is Rags. This is kind of a crazy, like, Alice in Wonderland, drug-fueled one. Billy Garbarino was in this movie. If you guys ever saw Geek War, I was in that movie with him. So it's kind of cool to see him in this one. This is basically, though, this girl who's, supposed to be like Alice from Alice in Wonderland character in this crazy world of, like, drugs and all kinds of weird characters, and all the kind of characters from Alice in Wonderland are all kind of drug addicts, and she's kind of laying around the house with all these people, and they kind of have these flashbacks, and she gets transported to, like, the weird world, and, like, these crazy green screen sequences with her, like, on the beach and stuff. It's a really strange movie, but I thought it was actually a pretty cool strange movie. It has on here a commentary track, outtakes, and trailers. And the last one from MVD is The Death of April. And this is kind of done all video blog style, and it's about this girl who first started kind of filming everything that she did, and this is kind of like from a couple years back, so it's kind of like before people do that as much as they do now. So the family was kind of looking at her like, why is she filming all this? It's kind of weird that she's always putting herself on camera, and always so strange that she's like always talking about everything she did in it, because it's mainly, she's not really even showing it to anybody really except them. She's kind of doing it for herself. But they're basically kind of cutting between the footage of this and then footage of her, the family members talking about her, and then footage of her, her vlogs. And they're kind of saying that something had happened, or she did something, or something happened to her. You're kind of having to figure out did she die? Did she do something bad? What has happened? Is she missing? So you're kind of trying to figure out what exactly is going on, because you kind of learn more and more about the whole thing, and weirder kind of things start to happen to her in her house. And I thought it was actually kind of interesting. I always like these kind of movies when they're done like in that kind of style, and I thought this one was actually pretty cool. But anyway though, guys, that's all for this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.